Hey guys, this is Iron Rip Bison. You're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hi, this is Becca.
And this is Hayden, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey gang, this is Mortar, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Wednesday on YouTube, Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., alongside Kaliko Yacht, who is not here, and Scooter Dust, who will be joining us a little later. But it is still a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Mortar.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, yourself?
I'm good as well. Can you tell us what you got coming up next?
Ooh, what do I got coming up next? Couple chaotic dates. Pretty much for the rest of the year coming into Cold Fury. I don't know all the dates just yet, but I know that I'm on most of them. Got Let's Wrestle coming up, the sister brand of Limitless Wrestling, and some stuff with Wrestling Open.
And where can we find you on social media and merchandise if you got it?
So on social media, you can like my athletes page on Facebook. It is I Am Mortar. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at I Am Mortar. Merchandise, I just bring my own. I don't have any merchandise anywhere, so if you find me at a local show, I got shirts and I got pictures, so.
All right. And of course, all those links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. If you want merchandise, find this man. We'll put his address in the description as well.
Yeah.
Now, you work for Limitless Wrestling and Chaotic Wrestling as well. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
I have a great relationship with both companies. Chaotic is my home promotion. It's where I trained. It's where I started wrestling. Uh, you know, Chaotic has been my home. That's where I was pretty much born and raised. Limitless is a place where I get to shine as an individual, and I have a great relationship with both companies.
All right. Now, can you tell us about the transformation from Cj Cruz to Mortar and why it was important to evolve into this next chapter of your career?
So with wrestling, you have to stay fresh, and you have to kind of be able to push yourself and push the creative mind. And I loved every minute of being Cj Cruz until I hated being Cj Cruz. Um, and Cj Cruz is great at the beginning, but I always felt that Cj Cruz was just another person in the locker room. It was just another wrestler on the show. I needed something else to stand out, something else that was gonna help me in the long run. I had always talked about doing something different, but I never really pulled the trigger. Back in 2020, when the pandemic had started and wrestling kind of took a quit for a little bit and nobody was running shows, my home promotion, Chaotic, we started doing our own studio tapings. It was a closed set, and we would do studio tapings. And around that time is when I started, okay, this is the perfect time to start fizzling out Cj Cruz and try to start this new character. And it was actually Max Smashmaster who was the one who came up with the idea of running with the Mortar character and seeing, how I can evolve Cj Cruz into Mortar. and we had started teaming together, and the rest is pretty much there. I mean, I stuck with it, and I love being Mortar, and I don't want to be anything else. And Mortar is now pretty much who I am, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Now, you mentioned that you loved being Cj Cruz until you didn't. Was there like a specific moment of I kind of had it with this, or did it just kind of build up and developed over time?
It was more something that I think developed and built up over time. You know, Cj Cruz was who I was when I first started. It's the guy that, you know, got me kind of like where I needed to be, and uh, kind of got me to a place where like I was okay. I felt like I belonged, but I never felt special. You know, I
Right.
always felt that there was always something missing with CJ Cruz, and it was almost perfect timing when the pandemic happened, because it was a second for me to like stop and like try to rebuild myself, rebuild me, the person that I was, me as the wrestler, you know. So it was almost perfect to kind of get out of that mindset of being CJ Cruz, the guy that comes out to hold the line by Toto and claps his hand and does all these high flying stuff and kind of like doesn't care about his body and stuff like that. So it was a nice transition to get out of that.
Right, and because you felt CJ Cruz wasn't going to get you to that next level.
I felt that CJ Cruz is going to get me to a point where I had to evolve, and
Right,
I didn't want I didn't want it to drag so long to the point where people were going to lose interest in me. And the one thing with wrestling is there's only so much that one person can do to 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 not like elevate themselves. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
you need to consistently change, whether it's in move sets, in your look, in your character, in whatever it is. You always need to evolve and you always need to change. And I feel like CJ Cruz over the years was able to evolve a little bit, but he wasn't able to evolve to the point that I wanted him to.
I gotcha. Now, your Twitter bio says putting face paint on makes you hurt people. What made you decide to wrestle with the face paint, and is there any special significance meaning for your face paint?
So the face paint idea came from Smashmaster himself. Originally, I won't lie, I never wanted to wear face paint. I thought it was very hokey and, kind of old school. And when I had started teaming with him in Chaotic, he kind of kept telling me, like, the face paint is a it brings a character to life. It brings Mortar to life. And Mortar without face paint, it doesn't feel right. And the face paint just brings the character to life. Whether it's
Yes,
it's it's a half star, or it's stripes on my face, or it's in resemblance to how Smashmaster paints his face. It brings the character to life, and I think it's something different that not a lot of people do, especially with like using face paint and stuff like that. And it's funny because whenever I'm just myself, I'm a normal person. I work my full-time job, and I'm consistent with training and stuff like that. But when I start like getting into the motion of like being able to getting ready to go out and perform in front of an audience, and I start putting my face paint on, I can feel it. It's like it's a completely different person. I get into the mood, excited, and I'm ready to go, and like it really it's energizing. It helps me get going.
so it's kind of like putting your war paint on.
Yes, exactly.
And is there, do you do that yourself, the face paint?
So at first, Smashmaster was doing it for me, um, and just over time, I just ended up learning how to do it myself. And the one thing that Max Smashmaster always told me was, your face paint should never be like somebody else's. Your face paint is your own touch. There's one thing about my face paint that I kind of, I always say is like, my face paint is never perfect. It shouldn't be perfect because Mortar is a rough character. So the face paint should never be perfect. If the lines aren't straight, if there's globs of paint somewhere, like that's the point. It's just part of the character.
All right. And we are being joined by Scooter Dust.
Hello, hello, hello. Pleasure to meet you, Mortar. Or
Pleasure to meet you too. How are you doing?
I am good. I am gonna follow up on James asking you about the transition or transformation into Mortar. Now, in the research I did, it appeared that this transformation, specifically physically, shocked a lot of people. A lot of people that you work with. Was Mortar always somewhere kind of inside of you, just biding their time until they saw the chance to emerge, or was it something that was indoctrinated or by I don't want to say indoctrinated, but marinated by Sydney Bacabella? And on top of that, I see a parallel between Cj Cruz and Mortar, and either the Incredible Hulk or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Which one of those do you think you would be? I know it's a lot in a little bit of in a few words, but
So all right. So I train at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. It's out of North Andover, and when I had started training, I was there consistently, and one of the trainers, ironically, Max Smashmaster, was the one who gave me the nickname Mortar because I just looked like a brick shithouse, and it was the name he gave me because I looked like another fellow wrestler from Chaotic Brick Mass Stone, and he was like, "You guys can be a tag team, Brick and Mortar," and it was just something that stuck. So Mortar has been my nickname for the past 4 or 5 years. It's what my nickname is at the school. Nobody had ever called me by my real name or had ever called me CJ or anything like that. It was always Mortar, and it was just a nickname that always stuck. So when the transition happened, it was there. The name was already there. It was now bringing that character to life. So it was very easy for me to make that switch to Mortar from Cj Cruz.
okay, all right, and just a theoretical. If Mortar and CJ Cruz were to become two separate individual beings, what would Mortar do? And if they had a match, who would win?
Oh, Mortar for sure. Mortar for sure. Mortar is very, very aggressive. Let's just say that.
Okay, all
He
right.
would beat the crap out of Cj Cruz.
Well, somebody else you beat the crap out of, Ricky Smokes, who is somebody you also came up with together. You recently had a match with him in Chaotic, and I believe that was your first time as both of your other alter egos, not Archer and Cruz. So could you tell us about that match and how it was maybe different or how you approached it differently?
That was so there was a lot of built up history in that match. A lot of emotions running high because it was something that you know me and Rick had always talked about. Was what the future would hold for us, and it was a lot of emotions going into that match. Ricky Smokes went his own way, decided he wanted to do things his own way. I decided I wanted to do things my own way, and it was almost perfect that all these years later of us just being us and doing what we wanted to do on our own came back to us wrestling each other for the New England Championship.
Is that kind of bittersweet in a sense?
Very bittersweet. It was very bittersweet, and it was a very hard hitting match. I actually still have bruises from that match,
Ooh,
so.
ouch. All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Yes. Now, you're if you're a fan of the northeastern indie scene, you know the name Alec Price, uh, and you were mentioned in a Sports Illustrated article a while back in regards to your match with Alec from October 2019. How did that feel to you as a competitor, and do you feel it gave you a bit more legitimacy or confidence, rather, knowing that you've been noticed and for future generations as have essentially been archived in a unique sort of immortality by the top sports publication in the country?
It's definitely a good feeling to know that, that at one point I was getting noticed, especially at one point in my career. At that point, but yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool to know that people watch, and it's cool to know that people know the history and they take their time to get to know a wrestler, not just from their name, not just from watching a match, but they actually take the time to do their research, and that's a cool feeling, especially for like Sports Illustrated to uh, be able to say, "Hey, Alec Price had this match with Cj Cruz," and and to be able to dig into the history of like the rivalry between me and Alec Price at that time.
Right, because you've had some big wars with Alec Price. Your debut for Limitless was against him. You had a last man standing match against him. More recently, you kind of renewed that rivalry with him at Chaotic. So would you say that you and Alec Price have a bit of a rivalry?
A bit. We definitely do have some tension still between each other, um, and it'll probably never go away. There will probably always be a hatred there between us two.
All right, and the one thing I noticed during your matches between, Mortar and Cj Cruz is that you're a lot more aggressive. There's a lot more hitting and just more what's the word aggressiveness. Was that something you wanted to kind of bring out, or was that something that Mortar kind of brings out of you?
So the aggressive side, I would say, Mortar definitely brings it out. Um, it's definitely it definitely is a side of me as well. I can be aggressive at times, but Mortar definitely brings the aggression out of me.
All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Yes. All right. Where is it
Don't forget the
now?
Burger King question.
Burger King, your face. Now you employ a somewhat. I don't necessarily think I would call it unusual, but unusual for fans who are unfamiliar with the culture behind Japanese pro wrestling, and that your name is in all caps when presented from all the research I found, which in Japan indicates heel. Is there a reason you chose to stylize your name as such?
So, okay. So when you think of a wrestler's name, and we can use Alec Price, for instance. Alec Price is a name. It's his name. It's who he is. The prize, Alec Price.
Yes.
So you look at that name and you say, hey, I know that name. But if you look down a list of names, okay, and you get to Mortar's name and you see that name in all capitals, it makes you wonder, why is his name in capitals? It leaves a question in the back of your mind. Why is that name in all capitals? It makes you want to find out why my name is in all capitals.
That is a very, very interesting concept. I don't think James and I have ever seen anybody use it like that. That's actually really fascinating.
It really is.
Yeah, it makes people wonder. I want people to look at that name and be like, why is his name all in capitals? What makes him so special from everybody else? And then when they see me wrestle, they go, now I understand.
I get that. That's pretty cool. I like that. Now you've mentioned his name a couple of times. Smashmaster. You're currently in a tag team with him as well. Can you tell us about your relationship with him? And what is a pet peeve that you just don't understand about your tag team partner?
So, Smashmaster is so we'll start from here. So Smashmaster is my wrestling dad, and I have two wrestling dads in professional wrestling, and it's Max Smashmaster and Chase Del Monte. They're the two guys who took their time to train me and teach me rights and wrong of professional wrestling and how to be a wrestler. They are my two dads, and I praise them to hell and back. But Smashmaster is, to me, he's very very special to me. I've learned a lot from him. But the one thing about him that he loves to do is he loves to smack me in the face every time that bell rings.
Ooh.
Every time. And he does it on purpose. He does it because he wants to get me going, and he wants my built-up aggression to come out. And he does it on purpose. Every time we have a match, he smacks me in the face, and it always gets me more mad.
So that would be the pet peeve?
That's definitely the pet peeve of mine that he does.
Skidder, you have a question.
Yes. Now, at the start of the new year, you answered Jody Threat's challenge. What prompted you to answer that challenge, and how did you feel being that proverbial turning point in her losing streak?
So, I wasn't advertised for that show. I wasn't asked to be on that show. So, I just took a simple opportunity and answered her challenge. I was already in the building. I wasn't going to say no. I mean, would you say no?
Not to
I would
Jody,
say no,
no.
but I'm not a wrestler.
No, not to Jody. I mean, if this was 2010 and I was still competing in the ring, I would probably say yes.
Yes.
I already
And,
promised Marsha she could murder me.
I
I
mean,
can't let Jody tell me.
let's be real. I had already wrestled earlier in the night, so I wasn't at 100. So she got lucky that night, but the next time she ain't gonna get that lucky.
How dare she
Ooh.
take advantage of you when you're not 100%?
Exactly, and I didn't get a full 8 hours of sleep, So, I think I was working on like 6 hours, and doctor recommends 8, so I wasn't at my full capacity.
So we need a rematch here.
We need a rematch, yes.
Now, and that was your first time in Limitless as Mortar, correct?
So that was probably my third.
Third.
Okay.
I believe they were
First
two
singles.
tag team matches. It was
Yeah.
the first singles match, I would say. Yes.
Yeah, first singles match is Mortar.
What was it like to come back to Limitless as Mortar?
It was good to be back at a place that helped me build me, the person who I was, especially at a place like Limitless. That's it's a very good place to be. So it was a nice feeling. It was a nice feeling, but I knew what I had to do to stay in Limitless, and getting through Jody Threat was one of them. Unfortunately, as you guys saw, as I saw, that wasn't the case. But hey, sometimes you got to try, right?
Oh, absolutely. And hey, we're already building up the rematch right here.
Yeah, book it anywhere, place and time.
Book it, Randy.
Book it, Carver.
Yeah. Hashtag book it, Carver. That's a new thing.
Yeah.
Somebody that you did actually beat was Anthony Green, who is a staple of New England wrestling at this point. What did it mean to you to kind of get that W over him at that time?
At that time, that was a very very big victory for me. Um, it was a very big moment in my career at that point, especially to beat somebody like Anthony Green, who is, and I think probably one of the best wrestlers, not just in New England but in the entire country at this point in his career. I mean, even then, he was probably still one of the best. Um, but yeah, no, that was a very big moment in my career, especially with AG, somebody who I had looked up to coming up while I was training and stuff like that, and doing stuff in Chaotic with him. It was definitely a moment for me.
Now, during your Cj Cruz days, you got the wins. You beat Anthony Green. You had Slobberknockers with Alec Price. You did make a name for yourself, but does that kind of go back to there was only so much I could do as him?
Yeah, I do think that there was only so much that I could have done with him before I would have felt like maybe I would have started fizzling out of that role. But yeah, it's just that there's only I did feel that there was only so much that I could probably do as CJ Cruz, and that I needed to evolve myself.
Right. All right. Scooter, you have a question.
Now, let's see which one. Okay. Now, you're a relatively big guy, and you have an agility in the ring that evokes the styles of the likes of Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader, Bruiser Brody, etc. Was there ever a time where you were advised not to do high flying spots like moonsaults because of your body size?
I don't necessarily think so. Um, I have always been the kind to be very vocal with certain things that I do, and I do take pride on being able to do certain moves and being able to do the moonsaults and do all the crazy moves and stuff like that at my size. I don't consider myself a big person. I am a stocky size. I don't think I'm a 300-pound guy that goes out there and you know looks out of shape. I mean, I'm a smaller, stockier dude, and I need to prove that I can't be overlooked. So for me, that stuff kind of comes like natural. just go out there and do it and shock people and make people wonder why they need to watch me and stuff like that, you know?
All right. Okay, and gonna bring a little levity into this because I believe this, I think, is the last thing I have, and I think James is gonna follow up after this. Maybe, I don't know, but you mentioned that Mortar was a nickname, and you got it from looking like Brick Mastone. That there is another talent in Limitless who has competed against Ricky. I'm not sure if you've ever faced him, Robert Martyr. And simply due to pronunciation, is there any chance of a Mortar Martyr match of mayhem? I don't know why I called it that, but I just love the alliteration.
I mean, you can never say never. I don't turn anybody away. Um, it's there. You know, whoever wants to make that match and whoever wants to book it, I am totally okay with. I got no problem with that. You know, I'll beat the crap out of him just like I beat the crap out of everybody else. So it doesn't matter to me.
All right.
No, not in pronunciation, but the little name. There is another Mordor out there, the Polynesian Demon. Would you ever consider doing a brick and mortar death match, where the objective is to put your opponent in a vat of Mordor, or use an actual Mordor on your opponent for the name Mordor?
Probably not. It sounds very dangerous. Um, I like my life, so I probably wouldn't be fighting till the death. I'll tell you that.
Ooh, and that just actually brought one small little question. I'm not sure if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, but has anyone in any locker room you've been in as Mortar gone up to you and said, one does not simply walk into Mortar"?
No, I have not heard that reference yet, but I may start using that.
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's a great line. But you just one to simply just not walk into Mordor without their lives, so just something to add something.
Yeah, it's a good little catchphrase.
Oh,
Yeah,
feel free.
yeah, that was the workshop portion of the interview. Well, a match you did actually do. You was in a TLC match against MSP, AC Romero, Love Dog. What was it like to be in such one of the more dangerous matches out there and against such big competitors?
Very good feeling. Very good feeling to be able to be trusted in that role of having those kind of matches, you know, and being able to perform in front of our audience, especially an audience like Chaotic, being able to perform for them and have that kind of match. Very hard hitting. Left a lot of bruises, a lot of scarring, a lot of pain afterwards. But it's for the love of what we do. You know, we love our fans, and it's the sacrifices that we take, especially for a match of that kind, to be able to put that on. It's a good feeling.
Alright. Now, do you usually wear your ring mask while driving?
Depends on the kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes, if I feel like scaring people, I will. The other day, I was in the grocery store with it. They said that's not a mask, and I said yes, it was, and I walked away from them.
Oh, so it's that kind. So it has the protection for the outfit.
Yes, yep, it does.
Look at you thinking ahead. Alright, on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Absolutely not.
No, no two ways about it. No pineapple.
No pineapple on pizza. That's disgusting.
All right. What's your spirit Pokemon?
What's my what?
What's your spirit Pokemon?
Ah, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. Because sometimes I'm lazy, and sometimes I have a spark of energy, and sometimes I just want to coddle in a hole and do nothing, so I wouldn't know.
So Snorlax,
Yes.
basically, I think, James.
What is question you ever be asked on a wrestling podcast? And we do ask this to all our guests. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter,
Not the country.
an actual Rock.
Like an actual rock.
Yes.
Like a rock from a river.
River, a little boulder.
I mean, if the pay is right, I'll beat the crap out of that rock too.
The Al Snow methodology. Can you pay me? No.
Just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that actually wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes in what was dubbed a Tungsten Man match, an Arm Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
That's impressive. Cheers to him for doing that.
I would cheer him. He didn't win, so.
Oh, okay.
It was a draw. It was a draw.
Oh, it was a draw.
And I mean, he didn't win the first match with The Rock. It was just a normal match. So.
Oh, well, he may need to go back to the drawing board because something just doesn't seem right about that scenario.
I mean, he was trained by Holy Race, so I mean, he had the tools.
I mean, if he couldn't pin The Rock, though, I mean that's a different story. I mean, it's a Rock. As long as he tried, right?
As long as he
like-
tried this.
It's like the Elmo loses his shit thing that's been going around over a rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we love Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
No, I do not.
Scooter?
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail. 'Cause a thug can't spell.
That's a good one.
Always tributing Tracy Smothers on the show.
No, that's a good one.
Now it is once again time for that segment, Mortar's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
I actually got one that's pretty kind of scary, but kind of an odd story. So I was driving back from a show out in Maine. It was about a 4-hour drive, and the group that I was with, it was just 3 of us. It was probably 1:30 in the morning, and I was dozing off in the passenger side, and all of a sudden the girl that was driving starts screaming. It wakes me up, and as I wake up, I see headlights coming towards our car, and somebody was driving on the wrong side of the highway, driving towards us, and we were going like 80 miles per hour.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
They continued driving down the highway, and we kept driving our way, and that was it.
Alright. That is definitely a bizarre adventure, to say the least. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a very tough question, only because my personal life and my wrestling life are two different lives. Um, if you were to ask me personally wise, I'd like to be able to have a couple kids and live the rest of my life and enjoy it. And if you would ask me on my wrestling side, I'd like to be wrestling everywhere. But it's one of those things only time will tell, and it's depending on how hard I work to get there. Um, I do I see myself on TV? I'd love to see myself on TV anywhere. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's a TV. That's all I care about. But it's one of those things that only time will tell, and see where life will take me.
All right.
I don't try to think too far ahead. I do have set goals, but I definitely I live in the moment for today. Because sometimes you never know what tomorrow brings, and sometimes tomorrow you won't be here.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a great way of putting it. And what are some match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Mortar is all about?
It's the match I just had with Ricky Smokes a couple weeks ago at Chaotic's Pandemonium.
All right.
That's definitely one of my better matches that I've had. I think probably to date, probably one of the best matches I've had in my career.
All right. Now we are in almost concluding this interview. So we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our
Not something to be incurred.
this is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Shawn Michaels.
Worst wrestler of all time.
Uh, there's so many. I don't know who to choose.
Scooter.
Ah, well, that's the first time anybody said there's so many, and they're probably choosing. Uh, your default selection is Eva Marie.
Eva Marie.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Shawn Michaels.
Alright. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Definitely Shawn Michaels.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
And it can't be Shawn Michaels.
Dead or alive?
We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
It's uh, it's a fruit, isn't it?
That is
Yes,
correct.
it is. It is a fruit.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yes, because it has seeds.
Oh.
New Japan Pro Wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
As long as it covers the cheeks, that's all that matters.
Alright. And I actually forgot one more question that we were supposed to ask you before we got into the 8 questions of doom. So
Okay.
this will be the bonus 9th question. The colossal 9th question. They're making a movie about you, and every soundtrack has a every
Every
movie
move.
every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on the Mortars soundtrack to your career up to this point?
Uh, my own theme song. Um, Hold the Line by Toto.
Okay.
And I would say Chaotix opening theme song.
All right. And I love how you knew, like, right off the bat what you wanted.
For theme songs, oh yeah, those are my 3 favorite songs.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No, I have never.
And that is the correct answer.
Never have.
And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Once again, where can we find you on social media?
Twitter and Instagram at I am Mortar, and if you go on Facebook and type in Mortar, you can like my athletes page.
And you've been listening to him for almost an hour. Give him a damn follow. And if you're at a show, buy a damn shirt.
Please, I need to pay for gas, you know?
If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Join us next Wednesday for another spectacular interview. Of course, all of this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. You can follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow us individually as well. I am at JamesJ993. You can follow Kaliko at I am Kaliko. And where can they find Scooter?
As always, you can find me underneath your bed, or you can find me on Twitter at Scooter Dust. And of course, the remix, as James and I bring you the only hottest live streaming alternate commentary podcast on the web today. At the time this interview gets released, we'll be coming at you with Elimination Chamber as well, and of course, join me along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons clan over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
Now, Mortal, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment.
All right.
For our very special guest, Mortal, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling Wit.
Entertainment.
Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.